Good morning. So, I want to talk about being thankful for the process, being thankful for the process of the spiritual awakening, of the rising into the higher realms. Um, a lot of times we go so far down into the pain that we forget to be thankful for, that when we're deep in that pain, we can't rise above it and see the whole process of it. And the pain and going through ourselves and releasing things and understanding that the pain has come to teach us something is so important in this process. And when we can rise above it and we can look at our lives and we can be in appreciation, we are chosen ones. We are lucky ones. We are on this self healing journey. And once you are set in the direction headed for the light, on this journey, it is irreversible. So there's no turning back. So you are on this journey. It's a matter of letting go and being in allowance, or fighting against and trying to hold on to our beliefs and our expectations, and then staying in the loop of pain. So the quicker we can let go, and in this process we're also learning how to let go. We learn to let go of the smaller things, and that comes easy, but then we get into the bigger, the depths of it, the things that we've been holding on to since our childhood. And those are the things that are deeper in us, embedded in us, and that are more elusive. They are life. It's like having a program that our life runs on, and that we're not even aware that that program is running. And we can change up the program at any time if we can become aware of the program that is running in the background. And it's kind of like having a virus running in the background, and you have to kind of overcome it. You have to first see it and realize it, and realize that that is what is shaping your life, for the better or for the worse. You can see it and decide that you want to allow it, and then there's no more pain in it. Or you can see it and you want to align yourself with the higher good, with your God's purpose. You want to allow the universe to flow through you. And that kind of leads up to this the another point that I wanted to make. So I want to finish up the gratitude. When you can live your life in a place where even when you're going through everything of the spiritual awakening, you can still stay in a mindset of gratitude and in a mindset of enjoying the process of being grateful that you are aware, that you are awake, and that you can see the process, and that you can see the higher good, and that you are on this self-righteous path, and that you are rising, and that you have the opportunity to work through yourself, and that there you are headed for bliss. You are headed for heaven on earth, for living in every moment heaven on earth. Because once you are let go, you become the experiencer of life. You become curious. Everything becomes interesting. Every moment you become present and you become aware of your surroundings, and you see the magnificence of this whole experience. You see the magnificence of, yeah, I'm going to call it God, but you can call it the universe, you can call it existence, the all, everything around you, nature, how things unfold, how you are connected to everything, how everything is connected to you, and you become in complete awe and in appreciation. And when you live your life in appreciation, that is your life experience. How much fun is it to live life in appreciation? When you are appreciative of the stones, of the view, of the water, of the experiences, the ones that you experience high, the ones that you experience low, when you become an appreciation of the experiences that you are experiencing, you become the experiencer. You become present in every moment. And that is the place of magic when you become present. Even when we go into meditation, the practice of meditation is coming into a place where you are simply present. You're present within, right? You're present in the higher realms, in the realms of above the physical, that are not above. It's kind of like simultaneous. It's kind of like alongside. It's the other dimensions. When you go into these dimensions and you become fully present, you become just consciousness. You become a perceiver, and not even a perceiver. To perceive is already to take information and to process it. You just become aware and you become a presence. And then you are in your light, your God life. And what we're doing during this present there during the spiritual awakening is that we're purifying ourselves so that we can become a pure presence, and that our light life, our life light, our personality, or it's not even a personality because that personality sits within the ego. It's like your being can shine through when you become pure presence. And when you purify yourself, your being shines through, pure of all of those uh, uh, false beliefs that we've built on top of ourselves and all those protection. We have these ways of being that protect our inner being from being hurt because we're so um, soft on the inside, that we that when as children, whenever we get hurt, we put up these walls, these protective walls, and some of them come in a way of lashing out. Somebody comes and they get too close, or that we feel like they see us too much, and we start putting up our walls. Our walls could be that we become the victim in the situation, then we close the other person out because we're going into victim mode, or we could become offish and push them away because they're getting too close to our inner being. Um, we have a lot of these fronts and these faces that we put up to protect our inner being. But once we go through all of ourselves and we come into complete acceptance of ourselves, then we start releasing these walls because we're no longer afraid of people seeing our inner self, because we have already resolved our inner self. If somebody sees it, we have all the answers. There is nothing for us to hide. And so then we become a complete experience, or we become completely open. There's nothing to hide. Everything is, and we become also fluid because we are in searching. We're searching for truth. We want truth. We want to better ourselves. So if we present ourselves in a certain way and somebody comes with a mirror that shows us, hey, wait a minute, you're thinking wrong. You look at the way that you're looking at this, then we're willing to take it in and to look at it and to really, we don't take other people's words just at face value, because we have to check them within ourselves first, right? Because everybody has their own way of looking at things and their own filter that they look at life through, their own filters of the way that they were born and raised and brought forth. And so, of course, we have to check it within ourselves and check the truth of it. But we become masters of our own domain, and we become truth seekers, and we become willing to look at truths that other people present us, and to judge them within ourselves if we take that truth or don't take that truth, or we can all of a sudden it'll open up new places for us to look at, new aspects. That's how we always mirror ourselves with other people. That's how every single person that we meet is a whole universe. And every single person that we meet, in order for us to communicate with them, we have an energetic transfer in between us, energetic imprint, energetic, I said, energetic imprint. We have to, parts of our personality, little faucets of our personality, connect with little faucets of their personality. And then we connect on those places, and that's how we find if we're interested in connecting with somebody or not interesting. We connect with them. We see, some people just bore us stiff. Some people intrigue us in different ways. I meet people sometimes that connect to my wild side, and it just brings my wild side out, or that connect to my sense of humor. And then it's just, a perfect match in the place of sense of humor. Or people that will open up my spiritual realm, or people that open up all sorts of different sides of me. It's like when I meet them, their energy connects with my energy in different places. And that is why, even when you get into a bound relationship, a relationship where you are, I'm talking about a romantic relationship, when you are devoted to this other person in a way of, when you devote yourself to another person, That's why jealousy is something that is so detrimental, because if jealousy comes in and starts not allowing you to meet other people, or not allowing, if you are in a relationship with a, let's say with me, with a man, and then I can't speak with all the rest of the men on the universe, it's like it's slowing my growth, because every single person that I meet has different parts of them to reflect back to me. And if my partner is insecure in that way, that he wants to avoid me meeting other people that might interest me, and I'm speaking from experience because I was in a relationship for many, many years of a partner that was very jealous and didn't want me meeting with other men. And what I find is that, first of all, it's the insecurity in my partner, because he doesn't feel self-worth, that if I might meet somebody that I like more than I like him, then I may go with that other person. So not only is it insecurities and disbelief in his own self to be a partner that I would want to stay with if I met somebody else, but it is also haltering my growth. And it is also, if it's also showing that my partner didn't truly love me in a way that is complete, because when you truly love somebody in a way that is complete, you want for their better good. So if he wanted absolutely for my better good over his better good, he would have no problem of me going and meeting other people. And if I met somebody that interests me more than him, that I wanted to be with more than him, then it simply meant that that other person has something that I need for my expansion. And then he should have, in a perfect world, or a world that is, it's a little bit, in a world where you are a complete love, unconditional, you would want your partner to go and expand in that way. And in that way, you hold a space open, because they feel completely free with you, and knowing that you will allow them you will allow for your partner's full expansion. And so it's trying to hold somebody in place in that way. And every single person that we meet uh, uh, provokes something different within us, it brings up something different within us, and allows us to grow in different ways. It grows different aspects of us. So one person that I meet will light up this sense of humor that I have, this really funky sense of humor that I have, and that place doesn't get a lot of light, because there are very few people that I met that light that up. So as my partner with me, I would want my partner to want that for me, to want that expansion for me. And in that, I feel like on the spiritual awakening, we're coming into ourselves, becoming strong enough that we can be that. See, just like I would want that in a partner, I want to be that in a partner. And so the spiritual awakening is bringing us into that. And so also, when you live in appreciation, I just want to sum up this, because there's another place that I want to go into. So when you live your life in appreciation, you are in appreciation. So it doesn't matter what the outside circumstances are. It doesn't matter if you're with this person, not with this person. It doesn't matter. When you are in the now and you are in enjoyment, of course you want better things for you, and you can point towards better things and manifesting better things. But this is how things manifest, by holding that place of appreciation in the now. And then your life is in expansion, because you are enjoying your life at every moment. When you are in appreciation, joy sits in appreciation. So anytime that you are in appreciation, you are happy, you are satisfied, you are contented. Content, content. Content is a word that came up with me yesterday. At the conversation with a friend of mine that lives in the States, and every once in a while we have a really deep, meaningful conversation every few months. And yesterday he called me, and we had a very meaningful conversation. I love the conversations with him. They always open up all these different little places in my mind, and stay with me for a few days after. Still, I like those inspiring kinds of conversations that we had. And we also talked about doing a podcast. I want to start doing some podcasts about different subjects. And he has this bigger than life aura around him. He has, he has a successful business of um, um, he works with properties, like selling properties. Nadlan, it's a He sells, but high-end properties, and I think in New York somewhere. And he's married, and he has children, and he is a family man, and he was originally from Israel. And I think that I kind of am a friend that kind of keeps a anchor for him in Israel. I kind of hold that place for him as a home base, because I think that any that he lives overseas, and this kind of is his country that he feels like he comes from, and I kind of hold that place for him. He comes to Israel twice a year, and we meet and we have good conversations. And I met his wife, and I'm looking forward to meeting his daughters that are going to be here sometimes when they visit Israel. And so it's a really clean, nice relationship that I enjoy. Um, and he's older, but his spirit is like a young man, and he's very, very inspiring in that way. And I like that I have friends in my life that are very inspiring. He looks at life like he's above life. He wants to do something, and he goes out and he does it. He also makes parties, does big parties, and sets up all sorts of. He's like a yes man. He just does it. It's really interesting. And so in that way, so when you can live your life in appreciation in that way, your life is spectacular in any case, no matter what the circumstances of your life are. And the second point that I wanted to make is that when you come into this place of appreciation, when you can look at your journey, through the pain and through all the lessons and through everything, and you can rise up into that place of the God realm, and you can kind of look at your life as a human experience, and you see it for what it is. In any case, when you look at it from that point, you detach from belongings, because you understand nothing, that's not what's important. The belongings and those things, that's nice for the human experience. It is nice. I'm not saying there is, everything that is in existence, there is for a reason, and there is pleasure in, and there is reasons for, even if it's just for contrast. Um, but this life experience, when you fully master your being, the physical also comes in around you and supports you and makes your life comfortable, and you have the experience that you want, that you create. We're always creating our experience. But when you can become a intendant, like when you intend and you come into that God's realm, which is the energetic realm, you come above and you can see your life as an energetic happening, and you can see your life for what it is, and this whole experience for what it is. And when you speak from this place, when you come into this place and you speak from this place, you do not have to watch your words. Your words are coming from this place. So when you come from a place of purity, everything that you speak comes out pure. So you don't have to you are doing God's work by being in God's kingdom. So so God's work really is going within and purifying yourself and rising into this place of the God's realm, of the above life, of being bigger than life, of seeing what is true, of being the experiencer, of knowing that you are more than just this body. Of when you come into this realm and you speak from this realm, first of all, patience is a given. Patience is a given because you see how everything has to come together in the physical world. When you have a knowing in these higher realms and you bring them down into the physical world, there is time that takes place for the physical to form in around your manifestation. Sometimes it can happen really quick, and sometimes it has to be brought to you through the channels of the physical world, right? Because everything is magic. Even in this physical world, if a truck turns on and brings you the sand and the bricks and everything that you need to build your house, that is how things are created within the physical world. Or you can manifest something that already was built in the physical world, and then it can come in, just exactly as you want. It's already in existence. If you can bring it in, it can come in almost instantaneously. I think it really depends on the amount of belief and the amount of determination and the amount of emotion and energy that is put into that bringing forth, and faith, of course, and belief. You have to have that faith and belief. And so when you are able to rise into that God's place, which is the God's place is also coming into the now, you come into securely and completely into the now, into that state of appreciation, into that state of awareness, into that state of seeing everything in its magnificence. And when you come into that state, everything that you see the reason for it coming in to existence. Everything is cause and effect. When you realize there is no emotion attached to anything, everything is just cause and effect. And the emotion that is attached to things, or the emotion that we put on it as the experiencer. So when you remove emotion and you just simply see things as cause and effect, nothing is hard anymore. Anything that you do is simple. It's a matter of doing it. It's a matter of the, creating the cause that creates the effect of what you want in your life. And it's fairly simple. Now, we're also co creators when you understand that you are not the only creator. You also have karma here. You also have, you are combined with the universe and other creators that are also, then. And the thing is, with most of the other creators in existence now, they're stumbling around creating their existence through very sporadic emotions that they're having. So it's like throwing arrows all over the place because they are not in control of their emotions, because they don't know that they are conscious creators, and they don't know that their emotions carry energetic imprints and that their energy is creating their reality around them all the time. If you come with miserable energy into a meeting, that meeting is going to go energetically miserable. You are going to have, especially if you're going into a meeting with other people that are also unconsciously creating their lives, then their emotions are all over the place. And you bring that bad emotion in and you push it off onto other people, they're going to be adopting your bad emotion. You're creating more of the same around you. And not only that, you're creating more of that in the universe because you're putting that into other body, other energetic, you're imprinting your energy onto other energetic bodies, and those energetic bodies are going out and imprinting that on more people. So the more, so when you realize that you are an energetic creator imprint, and you have the power to imprint others with your emotion and with your energy, and you can control your energy and your emotion, and you come into the God's realm and you spread light and joy. See, when you come into the God's realm, you don't even have to consciously do it. When you come, bring yourself and you rise into that place and you purify yourself, and you are far along enough on this journey into God's realm, everything that you do comes from that God's realm. So it doesn't even matter what you do. Your presence brings God's realm with it. Everyone around you will receive the lessons that they need from you. You become a beacon. And you don't even have to do anything. There's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that you need to force. You just need to be in that space and be an example of it. And everyone that meets with you will get the lessons that they need to get from you just from being in your presence, because you are coming from the God's realm presence. That is um, anybody, any being can recognize that unless they're so far into their own ego hell, right? So far in their own hell in their mind that they oppress it. When they see it, they don't like it because the light shines too brightly for them, and it shines on all their sore spots. And there are people also that have these, and they're lost souls, and I really feel for them. But some people are brought up with like a psychopathic um, kind of upbringing where they learn how to protect their own being is by not letting anything in. So they create this cycle of blame. They create this cycle of looking outwards and never looking inwards. And those are like the people that are furthest away from their inner soul. There, if you see, like, we are a cell as humanity, and there are the people that are spreading the light from the inner center of the cell, that they have gotten to the center of the cell. And then you see on the very outside of the cell, there are the like protective layer of humanity that is out there pushing against and fighting against and the furthest away from their inner selves and from their coming into themselves. Everybody has their own path that they have to go through, and some people just have that karma, and some people will live their entire life in that space. And I just feel completely blessed to be in the place that I am. And I'm saying this not from a place of any kind of judgment. It's a place of observation. When you come into a place of observation, you simply see the things, and you see them as cause and effect, and you see how they were created, and there is no blame. There is, you have to have contrast in this world. There is no blame, and there have to be people like that in the world for the world's evolution, for everything to evolve. And for there to be contrast and for there to be change, there has to be what to change. There has to be what to evolve from. There has to be um, the push off points. And in order for me to get to the place of understanding that I have gotten to, I have had to have had the experiences that I have had in my life. And I have been very, very, very lucky isn't the word. Privileged is closer to the word. Um, um, I feel privileged, I guess. I will use that word because it's close enough, and the other word's not coming to me. Privileged to have this life experience and to be where I am and to be in this process of the spiritual awakening. If you've been following me, you know that sometimes I go down into these places where I am in complete ego mode, crying, overcoming something. And that's part of the process. We have to go back down into our ego, into the 3D world to overcome weaknesses that we have and to fully go through them and to experience the pain of them and to let them go. And I feel like now for the last few days, even the pitfalls that I've been going into, I've received some serious lessons. I feel like I actually feel like let me finish that thought. That's something that I'm also learning, how to finish my thoughts and then go to a new question, a new thing, because my mind is just constantly. I have like 10 things going on right now. I could go down in my mind 10 different paths that I could take you down. But I feel like in this last week, even though I've had some detrimental experiences, some detrimental price payings, right, for not being in my present mode and not being in complete just present and in the flow of my life, I've missed out on a few different things. First of all, I've missed out on production of my own life. There were times where I had needed to be sitting, and I knew that I needed to be sitting and progressing myself, but I couldn't because I had that chasing energy, that running energy, and I ended up running instead of doing what I knew was right to be doing at that point in time. And then I paid the price, and I feel like I missed my own party. That's actually really how I feel. I feel like there was a party created for me, this perfect party that I would have loved to be at. But because the day before I spent running and I didn't do what I needed to do, then the next day I ended up having to do what I should have been doing the day before, and I missed out on my party on that day. And that's really what I feel like. I feel like had I been doing what I was supposed to be doing the day before, then when the party came around, I would have been free to have my party. And it's kind of like it's silly, but that is the way that this journey works. That is the way that you see how you see it after. You see that you pay the price after you do the thing that you feel like you shouldn't have done. Or it's like that with anything. It's like having, even like if you were to have a sexual relationship with somebody that you got lost in the moment and you went ahead and did it, and you knew while you were doing it that you're not in your God's place, but you still do it. And then afterwards, you feel the emotion of that. And so in that place, you can say, okay, I learned my lesson in that. And this isn't, I've had samples like that in my life. It's not anything recent that I've had, but I have had examples of that. I mean, recent in a way, but I have had experiences like that in my life where I feel like afterwards, I feel like, okay, you should, that didn't feel right. You knew it didn't feel right when it was happening, and you still did it. And that is because of like earthly things, right? Also, you're with somebody and you're like, what am I going to tell them no now when we're already, in this position? And and then I started thinking to myself, the flowers are starting to bloom. And then I start thinking to myself afterwards that coming into myself, coming into that strong place in myself, and being in full God mode and full mode of knowing my worth, then yes, if I feel like I'm going down the wrong path, then respect myself and my own sexuality and body. And when you have sexual relationship with somebody, you are not only giving over your body, you are connecting your souls. And when you do it with somebody that is not right for you, and you know that it's not right for you, there's so many ways there. And I think I did a video on this. There's so many ways there, as I don't want to get into it. It's a huge subject. There's so many ways there, though, for you, because you're so vulnerable. There's so many ways there that you can get hurt, and that are detrimental for you. All you're allowing somebody into your most sacred, into your body, at the place where you make children from, regardless if you're making children or not, but it is that sacred place. And you're allowing somebody to put their seed in you. That is, it's almost like an act of domination. It's almost like an act of your mine. As a woman, I'm speaking. As a male, as a man, it's the same. You're also putting your seed into a woman. Do you trust that woman with your seed? Do you trust, even if it's not an act, that you're not having the act for creating children, it's still energetically, it is the same. And there are places there where you can get extremely, extremely hurt. So yeah, I would say respect myself. If I'm feeling like I don't want to go down that road after I'm already in a situation, then yeah, then be honest with myself and be strong within myself. Put my higher self above my physical self. Put my higher self above my um, human lusts, or you get the picture. You get the picture. I'm just gonna, and so I'm gonna sum up that whole thing. We went off base in all sorts of directions. So I'm gonna sum up that, is that when you when on the spiritual awakening, we are rising into the God realm. We are rising into our higher self. We are rising above the ego, above the body, and we are becoming godlike creatures. And godlike creatures, I mean it in a way that we are of God. We are God creatures. So we're coming into that place of knowing and security. And I want to show you how beautiful it's the Sea of Galilee down there. I don't know if you can really see, but the sun is coming through the clouds and making like light spots. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'm actually liking the flow of this morning. I got up, I got my son off to school. I took the dogs out for a walk. They took off running at the very beginning of this walk. They took off running in some field. I think they were chasing something, and they haven't come back since. But I just feel like in easy mode. It's kind of a rainy day. Maybe later I'll do something, but now I'm going to go home, and I'm just going to ease into this day and do some work in this realm. I'm going to come into the now as much as I can, become present, and and keep myself in this high vibrating mode. Put on some good music. Maybe I'll burn some incense also. Through our senses, we can hold ourselves in. I have some frankincense, and I sell frankincense, by the way. I have some frankincense. I think I'll burn frankincense. Frankincense they used to burn in perpetually in the temple in Jerusalem, and it is purifying. It's natural incense that comes from trees. It's not an incense stick. It's a natural incense, and it purifies. And so I think I'm going to burn some incense. I'm going to put on some nice music, and I am going to work on projects that I always put off to the side. So I'm going to work on my site, and I think I'm going to start. I'm making molds for orgonite. So I think I'm going to set up the mold. And so by saying it on this video, I'm also bringing it into being. So I really appreciate all of you who are watching and following my story, and I love hearing from you guys when you write into me and tell me how the videos touched you. And it really gives me a lot of strength on this journey. I feel like sharing part of it is like it's my God's work, but as I'm doing my God's work, it feels the best for me in the world. It's like fulfilling for me. It's fulfilling for me on many, many different levels. It's fulfilling for me just to be able to speak it out and understand what I'm saying, and to have it as a kind of like an anchor that I can look back on. Every once in a while, I'll look back on some of my videos and watch. The ones that I'm crying in are a little bit more difficult for me to watch because I don't connect to them anymore. But I understand that they are important for people that are going through this journey. Even if you don't watch them and they're just there, it's important for people to understand what this journey really looks like, because we are in the higher places, and it would be really nice to just do high vibing videos. But I think that as a human experience, part of rising into, and of course I feel like the spiritual awakening will bring me into a place where I am always in this vibe. I understand that, where I'm always in my purity, where I'm always speaking from the place of the God level. um, but part of the purifying and part of the rising is also going through all of those places that we need to fix within ourselves, and all that chasing, running energy, burning all that out, all of the all the places where we are not completely full and satisfied and contented within our lives as our self-being. We have to burn out of ourselves to where our lives within ourselves are so interesting that and fulfilling that we have all sorts of things going on. I've noticed that all of the people that I have met that are on the spiritual path, on the spiritual awakening, are people that from my experience, right? There is no one way fits all. That's what's so grand about this whole experience. But there are things that happen simultaneously, and for many different people, there's like patterns that you can find, but everybody is a little bit different. I was making a point. There was a reason why I said that. Oh, I just summed that up. That part of this whole spiritual awakening is the part of having to burn through it. And I feel like as as I'm going through this and I'm sharing my experience, that those parts are also important to share, because those are parts that other people are going through as well. They're going through their own demons, but they're also going through and going down into those places, and I can kind of show the process how that happens. It's like we're going up a spiral, and every once in a while we hit something that we have to fix, and then we get thrown back down. Okay, go fix it. And what's wonderful about this life is that the universe will give you another chance and another chance and another chance and another chance. When you, and that was something that gave me a lot of peace over these last few days, because like I said, I felt like I missed my own party. There was a party thrown for me and I missed it, because, okay, I'll tell you the story. On Thursday, I went over to, I'm going to call him my best friends. And then in the evening, I went over to my best friend's, and then he said he has to get busy and go to work. So I was thinking, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get to work. And I went home and I couldn't concentrate and I couldn't get to work. So I ran and I went to the hot springs, right? And so I spent a few hours there and I came back and I didn't do my work. And so then Friday morning, this was on Thursday, on Friday morning, I woke up and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to do all of the things that I didn't do yesterday. And I did all of the things that I didn't do the day before. And had I had done them the day before and the evening before, that morning, Friday morning, I would have got up and gone to the hot springs. So, and in the end, oh, look at her. Oh my goodness. Look, she came back. Look how dirty she is. She was off running around in the fields. Look how dirty she is. She's just filthy. She needs a bath. It looks like they had a lot of fun. Um, and on Friday morning, my best friend, after he worked on Thursday all day, he went Friday morning. And on Friday morning, there were like all sorts of people there that I would have wanted to spend my day with, but instead I was home folding clothes and doing dishes and working on other things that I hadn't done the day before. So I feel like I missed out on my own party. There was going to be a big celebration party for me, because I was sitting down and doing my work and I missed out on it. And so today I am going to get busy and I'm going to do that work, and I'm going to do, like, every time you and see, I didn't fall into any kind of like, oh no, poor me, why did I do, that months ago I would have spent crying. And now it's just kind of like, okay, there's another missed opportunity. There's another place that I didn't do what was the most detrimental, what I should have done in that moment. I know there are no should haves, and I know that everything worked out perfect so that I could get this lesson. I know all that. That's why I'm not crying over it. That's why I'm thinking, okay, I didn't do the right thing. I didn't do the thing that I knew that I should have been doing to better myself, to better my life. I had the opportunity. I had already seen my best friend. There was no reason to be running. I'd already been out of the house. I should have sat down and done my work. Part of this life experience is doing something, putting yourself in motion to better your life. And I want a better life. I want more providence. And so I have to put some of my energy towards that, even though I am a co-creator in this. And I know that God has some that God is some responsibility. God is my co-creator in this, but I have to put the motion into my life. Otherwise, there is no avenue for it to play out on, right? So if I don't have avenues open for the universe to bring things into me, right? So I have to create those avenues and trust that those avenues will work. So I need to sit down and create my site. And I realized that things can only happen as they happen. Had I had already had that insight the other day, what on earth is that? Oh, it was a frog that was run over. Um, had I had that insight, then I would have been at my party, right? So apparently that was a lesson that I needed to go through, and I needed to pay that price so that I could see the lesson, right? Had I had the lesson before, I would have been at my party. So instead of going into crying and I missed out and why didn't I do this and self blame, I'm like, okay, well, let me just take the lesson from that and understand it. And it's allowing me to more and more and more let go and understand that everything is divine and everything happens exactly as it is meant to happen. And it can't happen any differently. So I couldn't have had that lesson before I got the lesson. So I got the lesson now. And now I've already gotten back to my house. And so I'm going to go work. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and for following my story. I'm sending you guys so much love and appreciation. And when something more comes back, I'll come back. Thank you for watching.